Welcome back to the channel where we dive deep into the hottest K-pop buzz and chat like true fans. Today, we've got something exciting to talk about. BTS is breaking records again. And honestly, at this point, it feels like breaking records is their side hustle, right? But this time, it's not just any achievement. It's another billion-stream milestone. Let me give you the details, and then trust me, I have some thoughts to share that I think you're gonna wanna jump in on. So, here's the tea. BTS's iconic track, Fake Love, has officially hit 1 billion streams on Spotify as of the 24th. Yes, you heard me right. 1 billion streams. I mean, how wild is that? This song came out back in 2018 as the title track of their third full-length album, and yet here we are 6 years later, and people are still streaming it like crazy. And honestly, why wouldn't they? That track is pure art. The mix of emo, hip-hop, grunge rock guitar vibes, and those groovy trap beats, chef's kiss. It's got that dark, raw energy that just hits differently, even years later. But here's where it gets even more insane. This isn't their first billion-stream hit. This is actually the 5th BTS song to cross that milestone. 5th. Can you guess the others? Of course, Dynamite is on that list, and let me tell you, Dynamite didn't just hit 1 billion. It blew past 2 billion streams earlier this year. 2 billion streams. Like, how do you even process that? That's literally the population of multiple countries combined. Imagine if every single person in those countries streamed BTS. Oh wait, they basically did. And then we've got My Universe, Butter, and Boy With Love, all of which have crossed the billion mark. Honestly, the amount of impact these guys have globally still blows my mind. Like, I know BTS is massive, we all know that, but when you look at actual numbers like this, it really makes you stop and think, is there even a ceiling for them? Or are they just going to keep smashing every record until Spotify runs out of space? Now, before we get too deep, I want to throw this out to you guys. What was your first reaction to Fake Love back in 2018? Be honest. Did you love it instantly? Or was it one of those songs that grew on you over time? For me, personally, I was obsessed from the very first listen. The visuals, the choreography, the emotion in their voices, it was like a perfect storm of artistry. And let's not even get started on the concept. That whole era was just next level. But I want to know your thoughts. Drop them in the comments, because I feel like everyone had a different experience with that song. Now, speaking of next level, let's talk about Jungkook. Because while BTS as a group is breaking records, our golden maknae is out here casually snatching solo records like it's nothing. His track 3D just surpassed 1 billion streams on Spotify too. Can we just pause for a second and appreciate how huge that is for a solo K-pop artist? Jungkook now has 4 songs that have each crossed 1 billion streams. 4. That's more than any other K-pop soloist out there. His list includes 3D, 7, and Left and Right. And if you've heard these tracks, you know why they're dominating. Each one has its own vibe, but they all have that signature Jungkook magic. What I love about 3D in particular is how it leans into that early 2000s hip-hop and R&B sound. It's nostalgic, but still feels fresh, you know? It's like he took something we all grew up loving and made it new again. And honestly, it makes me wonder, how many of you think Jungkook's solo career is shaping up to be one of the strongest in the entire K-pop industry? I mean, if this is just the beginning, where does it go from here? But here's a question that's been on my mind. Do you think this insane streaming power comes mostly from the fandom? Or is BTS genuinely pulling in new listeners every year? Because for a song like Fake Love to still be streamed this heavily 6 years later, it's gotta be more than just armies replaying it, right? I feel like BTS has become this cultural phenomenon where even casual listeners are like, oh yeah, let me add this to my playlist. What do you think? Is BTS just that universally appealing now? I need your takes on this because honestly, it fascinates me. Also, and I know this is kind of controversial, but do you think BTS's future music will keep topping these achievements? Or will their older classics always dominate? Like, will Fake Love and Dynamite always be the gold standard? Or will their next comeback blow everything out of the water? Personally, I feel like they're the kind of group that never settles. Every comeback, they bring something new to the table. And speaking of comebacks, oh, we've got something juicy to talk about in a second. But before we go there, let me ask you this. If you had to pick one BTS song to hit 3 billion streams next, which one would it be? And don't just say your bias's favorite track. I want the song you genuinely think deserves it the most. For me, I'm torn between Spring Day and Black Swan. I know they're not the most streamed, but emotionally, those songs deserve the world. Imagine Spring Day crossing 3 billion. Do you know how poetic that would be? But anyway, tell me your picks because I'm curious to see if everyone goes for the hype tracks or if some of you are rooting for the underrated gems. Alright, now here's the real kicker. BTS isn't just sitting around celebrating these wins, they're actually preparing for a full group comeback with a new album dropping in the first half of next year. Can we scream for a second? Because this is huge. After everything, the thought of a brand new BTS album in 2025 is enough to send the entire fandom into orbit. I don't know about you, but my expectations are sky high. Like, what kind of concept do you think they're going to hit us with this time? Dark and moody like Fake Love, bright and funky like Dynamite, or something completely unexpected? Honestly, the possibilities for their next comeback are endless. And that's what makes BTS so exciting. They never stick to one formula. Every era feels like a new chapter in their story. Personally, I'd love to see them go for something conceptually deep again, like Black Swan, or even the Wings era vibe, where it felt like every track had a hidden meaning. But at the same time, I wouldn't be mad if they gave us another global anthem like Butter, that just radiates joy. What about you? If you could decide the theme for their next album, what would it be? Dark and emotional? Uplifting and bright? Or maybe experimental? Something like a full rock album or a return to hardcore hip-hop roots? Drop your dream concept in the comments because I love reading your ideas, and who knows, maybe Big Hit will see them one day. Manifesting, right? And while we're manifesting, let's talk features. Do you think BTS should collaborate with another global artist for this comeback? We've seen amazing collabs like My Universe with Coldplay, and of course, the solo projects have been full of surprises. Personally, I think a BTS x The Weeknd track would absolutely break the internet. Imagine those vocals layered with BTS's harmonies? Perfection. But hey, some people argue that BTS doesn't even need features anymore. They're a powerhouse on their own. Where do you stand on this? More collaborations? Or just pure BTS? Also, can we talk about how Jungkook's solo success might influence the group's new sound? Because his recent tracks have shown how versatile BTS members can be individually. Do you think the next album will have more of that Western pop influence? Or will they go back to something more distinctly Korean in style? Personally, I'd love a blend of both. Give us the global appeal, but keep those roots strong. That's what makes BTS special, in my opinion. And speaking of opinions, here's a fun debate for the comments. Which achievement do you think is harder, getting 1 billion streams on Spotify or 1 billion views on YouTube? I feel like both are insane in their own way, but streaming culture has shifted so much that hitting 1 billion streams feels like it takes longer these days. Or maybe not. I don't know. You tell me. Which metric do you think matters more in 2025? Streams, views, or something else like charting? Let's start that debate because I'm curious to see what you think. Now, let me throw one more question at you before we wrap up. Do you think BTS will continue to dominate as strongly after their comeback? Or are we entering a new era of K-pop where competition is fiercer than ever? I mean, groups like Stray Kids, New Jeans, and 17 are absolutely killing it right now. Is the throne still BTS's, or is the industry shifting? Personally, I think BTS has the power to stay on top because they're not just a group, they're a movement. But I want to hear your perspective on this. All right, before we close out, let's circle back to the news because that's what kicked off this whole discussion. BTS now has 5 songs with over 1 billion streams. Jungkook is setting solo records like it's no big deal, and a full group comeback is on the horizon. If that doesn't get you hyped, I don't know what will. Here's what I want you to do. Go to your playlist right now and stream Fake Love. Not just because it hit 1 billion streams, but because that song still deserves love today. And while you're at it, throw in 3D too. because Jungkook out here carrying the solo game on his back. If you enjoyed hanging out today, make sure to like this video and share it with your fellow ARMYs because we've got a lot more discussions like this coming your way. And don't forget to drop your thoughts in the comments. Seriously, I read them all and I love seeing your takes. Until next time, this is On Young Buzz, signing off.